Brewers pretty high favorite, 175 on a money line, 120 on the run line. Cubs with a nice price back at 155. Now, a couple of years ago, in no way would we ever see a line like this. You have the ace of the Cubs on the mound, and they're a plus 155 dog. Total is 9. Mark, I'm going to start with you. Obviously, the Cubs have made a lot of moves recently. Gone are the teams of guys like Schwarber and kids like that. Those guys are gone. This is not the team that we remember. This is a team that, quite frankly, is, I think power ranking as far as coming into the season, they're in the bottom 10 in baseball probably. This is not a good team. There's no real consistency in the lineup. There's a lot of middle-of-the-road kind of guys. What are your thoughts on this game? Obviously, the Brewers are going to take money here, and they are. Are you betting the money line? What are you going to do? You're going to lay the 1.5? What do you like here?
Well, this is a lay the wood special for me, and I've got Corbin Burns. He's my number 2 starter by my starting rankings, and only second to Jacob deGrom. And I've got him, just to kind of quantify what my ratings will project, I've got him suppressing runs by 46% less than the average pitcher. So just to kind of wrap your head around that, because I'm going to use these scale to 100 numbers a lot, and they're really not that. I mean, you'll hear me go, he's a 106, he's a 97, he's a 95. And I think that what I'm going to do on my site is put up a key just to help people out. But just for now, a 54 means that he's going to suppress runs by 46% better than the average pitcher. So the average runs in Major League Baseball, 4.5. So he's going to pretty much be at two and a quarter runs. And compared to Kyle Hendricks facing an average lineup, Kyle Hendricks is at a 107. So that's 1.07 times 4.5. And I can't do the math right off the top of my head, but like 4.7 roughly. So you're looking at Burns, he's going to allow half the runs that Hendricks is. So you start there. And then if you look at these components of the team, the bullpen, and we talked briefly about this yesterday on the show, and we both agree that Milwaukee is either the top bullpen or the number 2 bullpen in baseball, depending on what metrics you use or how you want to look at it. But nevertheless, they are, prime from a top standpoint in Major League Baseball. So they're better than the Cubs by 17 base runner points in relief. And then you talked about the Cubs offense, and you're right. It's not your father's Chicago Cubs. And I want to just kind of go down the Chicago Cubs offense, because I don't think that there's going to be some guys that you're familiar with. And I'll give you my rating again with offense. If it all comes down to runs. So offense, if it's lower than 100, the guy's bad. If it's above 100, the guy's good. And we start off at the top. It's Rafael Ortega. His base winner number is a 91. So he's 9% worse than the average batter. And then we got Madrigal. He's even at 100. Contreras is 104. This is the 3rd spot in the lineup, and that's really a low number for the 3rd man. Ian Happ at a 105. Schwindel at 101. And the guy that I like the best in the lineup by my projection is Seiya Suzuki. And I don't know why they're batting him 6, but they are. He's a 136 base winner number. Hayward, gosh, he's awful, 93. Patrick Wisdom, 88, and Nico Horner, 92. So, got
to wonder where the runs are going to come from today.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a lineup that inspires fear in anybody. Going up against the best pitcher in Major League Baseball. And I've got to lay the wood. I mean, my model has it at minus 220. It's priced at minus 175. And so for those reasons, I'm all over the Brewers here.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I'm going to look at it kind of a little different tact. I mean, let's be frank. I mean, Kyle Hendricks wasn't particularly strong last year. I mean, this wasn't one of his better years. He's definitely maybe lost his step. Now, he could rediscover who he is. But as you said, this is a Cub lineup that it's going to struggle to score runs. And, when you're facing a guy to the level of Burns, I have major issues. And then, I mean, you can't really say to yourself, well, let's get him out of the game after 5 and we can hit that bullpen. Well, that's not going to happen because this is one of the best bullpens in the league. They keep leads and they don't let them up. We also look at the wind today, blowing out the left center. It's pretty strong, 17 to 20 miles an hour. That's a norm in Chicago. I look at the lineup for the Brewers. A lot of people are going to say, well, They struggled at times last year, Yelich, that kind of thing. But ultimately, I think they can only go up. I feel like they definitely were a bit downtrodden last year. They still scored about 4.5 runs a game. And they were actually better on the road offensively than they were at home. I'm going to lay the run line here. And I look at it and say, this is the perfect candidate if you lay run lines. You look at last year, Milwaukee was actually a team that made money laying run lines last year. And what do we know? We know they have a great bullpen. They're not going to give those leads up. I kind of had this game at like 6-2, 5-1. I think the Cubs really struggle to score. I really do. I'm confident that the Brewers have some success here. Ian Happ's got pretty good numbers against Hendricks. A couple of these guys have pretty good numbers. So I'm going to lay the run line. My goal in baseball, at least from a day-to-day basis, is to limit the amount of juice that I'm laying. Throw in the fact as well, and this is a point to live by in baseball. You do not lay run lines, in my opinion, with home teams. I'm not interested. We eliminate one ability at the end to bat in the 9th inning. We have a road team here. I'm laying the run line. So I'm going to go a little different than you, Mark. But we're on a very similar wavelength. You like the Brewers to get the job done, and I think it's a good play. I'm going to lay the 1.5 to just get that juice down a little bit and lay the 115. So, Alejandro, let's throw up our bets for this game. Do we have that? We can throw that up. Both of us are on the Brewers. Mark, what do you think about run lines? You're not a big run line guy.
I've never really endeavored in it. And my thought is, if you can get enough value on the money line, for the most part, and it depends on who you're betting with, for the most part, you're going to have less juice to contend with on a pre-match basis. So, especially where a lot of the books offer reduced juice overnight on money lines, which is right up my alley, because my model's pretty much done the day before. Now there's some things that I throw in day of game, but yeah, I just think from an odds standpoint, you get better odds as a rule with the money line. But I'm not opposed to your play here. I think it's a good play. The one thing that's just every time I bet Burns, and it might just be, when I bet him, so, one of those things, Murphy's Law, is this offense just can't do a damn thing when I bet Burns. And so you'll have games where you're 2-1, and I think I've probably won more than I've lost betting him, but it's not fun. You gotta count on the bullpen to lock it down. And as good as this Brewer bullpen is, it's still dicey, when you're up by a run. But I do like it.
I remember real quick years ago, Cole Hamels, when he was near Philadelphia, he notoriously had those problems where he would pitch these terrific games, and the Phillies are struggling to score runs, and it's 2-1 or 1-0 or something, and we're wondering, like, why can't they? Jacob deGrom has that issue. I'm gonna hope you're wrong today, Mark, but. Hey, it is always one of those.
No, I hope I am too. I mean, I'm all for how about an 11-2 lead and 5?
I'm just fine with that. I'll tell you right now, I think some runs are going to come from the bottom of the lineup. Jace Peterson has good numbers against Mr. Hendricks. So does Colton Wong. We know Yelich is obviously terrific. So I think this team's going to score some runs today. I'm going to say this is like a 6-2 type of game. Something like that. So
the one thing that I wanted to bring up, because I thought it was interesting when I was prepping for this game, was Andrew McCutchen splits right versus left-handed. And I don't know why they have him in the lineup versus righties. So last year, his OPS versus right-handed pitching, 650 versus lefties, 1,027. I mean, the disparity is just unbelievable. So I don't get why they're putting him in the lineup versus right-handed pitching. I just don't.
Yeah, well, let's hope today is maybe the day he gives us a double or something crazy. But all right, we'll rock with the Brewers here. Back in Burns, you're gonna go straight up. I'm gonna lay the money line at 115. Let's